Hello YouTube, I am the Avant Redguard, the internet's only Maoist, and this is the 9th video in my 15-part series on what is Marxism, Leninism, Maoism. If you remember at the end of my last video, I offhandedly referred to Marxism, Leninism, Maoism as a science. It's a scientific method, it's a scientific process. Now why is this important? It's important because all the other so-called communist parties, all the other so-called tendencies, like, Hojaism, Trotskyism, mutualism, Possadism, Maoism, they say that, they're not scientific socialists, they're utopian socialists. And so what do? They go out and they, make countries with flags and with flags and armies and social programs. And that's not what, communism is about. Communism is about doing any of those things on Earth. Communism is about doing those things on Mars. And so, we're not scientific. We are scientific. Unlike these non-scientific socialists, we're also scientific, unlike these so-called scientists. You go to a scientist like a biologist or a physicist or a chemist, and they say, oh, I'm a scientist, I just made this discovery. And like, what's your discovery? And they're like, oh, I don't know, the Earth is flat, or the sun goes around the moon, or dogs exist. And you're like, prove it. And they can't prove it. They can't prove any of their science. And, that's the difference between our science and their science. Our science, we make a claim, we make a hypothesis, it's the method. Hypothesis, theory, data, experiment. And we do the method. And our hypothesis might be Peru is the only country that exists. And someone says, prove that. And you say, okay, I will. And you nuke every country in the world that isn't Peru. You just proved it. That's the important part of the scientific method. It's hypothesis, theory, experimentation, collecting data, launching nuclear weapons, summating your findings. That's the scientific method, and it all boils down to something called dialects. Now, what are dialects? Dialects have to do with the way that people talk. And the way that you talk says a lot to do about what kind of communist that you are. So, for example, Karl Marx probably talked with a German accent. He was really a communist who talked with a Martian accent, like my Martian accent that I learned on Mars. So this is dialects. This is the dialect materialism. It is a material fact that I speak with a Martian accent, and this Martian dialect is what allows me to, by the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, to think like a real communist. And that's what we mean by dialect materialism. And that's what we mean by scientific socialism. Thank you. Tune in next week. Like, comment, subscribe, and don't remember, Maoism will win.